This is another somewhat long video. Some of these introductory videos are some of the longest videos you'll see all semester, and I apologize for that, that I hit you hard here early on, but there's a lot of details and pieces of the course, and I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to understand how I've built this course and what all the different pieces are along the way. I've tried in the rest of the course, especially when we're talking about lecture material and stuff, to keep videos to 5 minutes or less when it is at all possible, and it was possible the vast majority of the time. This video is about our materials, and there's really kind of four main things we need to talk about. One is Moodle, which I talked about in the previous video, so I'm not going to rehash all of that. The next one is WebAssign, which is where your book is and where you will do your homework. So a couple of things about WebAssign. First of all, the first time that you access WebAssign, you're going to need to do so through this link here in the top block of the course. It says Access WebAssign, see WA Info and Syllabus before first use. And so let's jump in and see what that syllabus information says. If we look at the syllabus and look over here on the left-hand side, we can see all of our topics. And under Assistance Help, there is a WebAssign item. And if we click into WebAssign, it talks a little bit about getting started. It talks about the fact that there's a free account for a limited time. Usually it's for up to about the first 2 weeks of the course. If you're taking a summer course, it might be a little shorter. It's a kind of a percentage of the entire length of the course. So it might be more like 8 to 10 days or 10 to 12 days in a summer session. But you can get in, you can get started for free before you've purchased anything, although at some point you will need to purchase access to keep going. If you kind of lose access to your account because you haven't done that, nothing goes away, you just can't access the stuff. And then once you've paid, everything in your account's still there and you can get going again there. Hopefully that won't be an issue for anybody, but that can potentially be an issue. There's some information here about lifetime of the edition book. Here's the information about registering and getting into WebAssign. There's some information about the introductory assignment, the first thing you'll be working on. The ebook itself, there's a digital version of your textbook, and there's a lot of information here that will help you learn about how that works and get some good mileage out of it. It's not just a PDF of the book, it is very interactive. All these buttons that I'm showing on the screen right now link to different types of things that the book allows you to do. There's also an author website that they've created that you are welcome to take a look at that has a lot of information and support materials. There's information here on getting support and help, technical support versus calculus support. There's a feature called the personal study plan, which you may be interested in taking a look at. There's some information about assignments and how they work. There's some tips. WebAssign issues, there are some things here that you should be aware of before you get too deeply into WebAssign. WebAssign generally is an incredibly flexible tool in the sense that as long as your answer to something is algebraically equivalent to the correct answer, WebAssign will give you credit. However, there are certain things that it is not very flexible about. If it uses a lowercase x for the variable and you use capital X, it's going to mark you wrong. If it uses t for the variable and you use x, it's going to mark you wrong. There's also issues with kind of sometimes how do we answer our question, or answer a question. Do we answer with a full formula or equation, or do we give part of it? And you need to take clues from answer boxes that are there. Most of the time, or a lot of the time I should say, WebAssign will be looking for exact answers, not rounded decimal answers. It will only expect a rounded decimal answer if it gives you rounding instructions. So there are lots of hints that will help you along the way in terms of understanding things. Please do be aware that I ask students to always try to simplify things. So even though WebAssign will allow you to get away without always simplifying your answer, especially when it comes to test time, I would like you to see you simplifying things. And I try to give plenty of examples in the lecture material and videos about what that simplifying can look like. You'll be allowed to extend the due date on up to 10 of your assignments, and there's some more specific details about this. You'll want to read that to understand how that works. And then just a reminder here at the bottom that I have to manually move grades from WebAssign into Moodle. That's not always the fastest process because it's manual, but I do eventually always get it done. If you see in Moodle that you have a blank WebAssign grade, that just means I haven't moved things over. Once you see a number there, that means that I have moved things over. If you see that I've made a mistake, please don't be afraid to let me know. There is some additional information on WebAssign a little further up in the book under assignments. It says homework in WebAssign, and you'll see a little bit more information there as well. And then also under course materials, even further up, you'll see some information about the textbook, and here it'll talk a little bit about Cengage Unlimited, which is another option for purchasing access to everything. So WebAssign stuff shows up in a couple different places. Just really quick, this is roughly what your WebAssign will look like once you get in there. Because I'm recording this video in between semesters, no assignments are showing up right now, but you'll see there's a My Assignments, there's grades, personal study plan that I mentioned, class insights. If we scroll down a little bit on the right hand side, you'll see where the book is, and something I'll let you know about the book. We're using an old edition of the book. Or slightly older. It's there's an 11th edition now, but we're using the 10th edition, and they haven't updated the 10th edition yet to deal with Adobe Flash Player. I should say to not work with Adobe Flash Player. So if you click on it, you might get a message like this. And I can tell you within Chrome, which is a browser that tends to work pretty well, assuming that you have installed Flash Player, once you've gotten to this point, you can go up here and click on this lock, and you can go to Site Settings, and what you want to do is find the Flash item. It's by default is blocked, but if you switch that to Allow, that's all you need to do, and then go back to the page we were on. It'll ask you to reload. And oops, something a little weird going on there, but I'm going to jump back here now that I've done that. There we go, that's what I'm looking for. And now the textbook is working just fine. It works similarly in other browsers to re-enable Flash so that you can see things. It's a pretty good textbook. You should poke around and understand how it works. There's information in the syllabus to help you understand a bit about it as well. And of course, don't be afraid to ask me questions about it. Don't be afraid to ask me questions about anything all semester long. I'll do my best always to answer any and all questions that you have. All right. In addition to WebAssign and Moodle, I've mentioned Piazza, and when you create your first Piazza account, this is a good place to go through. If we go into the syllabus, we can find information about Piazza there, which will explain it a little bit better. Down near where WebAssign was, lower left-hand side here, assistance/help. Explain a little bit about what Piazza is, a little bit of information about creating an account, tell you where you can get help using Piazza if you need it. It's pretty straightforward. I doubt that you probably will, but it's possible. And then just a brief little explanation of math in Piazza. Now, when you ask questions, you don't have to make your math look really, really nice in Piazza. You're welcome to, and there'll be some help there if you're interested in that. I will, however, make sure my answers look good, and for me, that's why I really like to use Piazza. It's a really nice environment, so I can give you really good answers that look good, that are easy to read, and really help you understand things, more so than just text or email, which often with math is really difficult to deal with certain concepts and symbols, and calculus gets really complicated after a while. So that's one of the reasons that I like to use this. This is what Piazza looks like. Once you have an account, you just click on New Post. You click a folder, which is a tag. If we're studying limits, you would click Limits. You give a quick summary of what your question is, and then you describe your question and you post it. And it's pretty much that simple. You can post anonymously to all your classmates if you don't want to be seen or don't want other people to know who's asking a question. You can't post anonymously to me. It helps me always to know who's posting things. But that's a nice feature though. Not everybody always likes to raise their hand and ask questions in class, so I like to give you that option. There are a couple of things already here for you to read once you create your account. Here, a quick introductory note shows you what things might look like without LaTeX. That is the technology that allows me to give you really nice looking math, and then what things look like with LaTeX. So you might type something like you see on the left. I might type something that looks like what you see on the right, so it's a little bit easier to read. And there's also a post here to kind of help you understand how to post helpful questions. Questions that are not only helpful to you, but are also helpful to me to make sure that I can answer things well. And it talks a little bit about LaTeX, and there's actually a built-in LaTeX equation editor that you can use when you create your posts as well. So please make that account and get a little bit familiar with that. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is the TI-84 Plus and TI-83 Plus calculators. I've already pointed out to you that there is a book in the course where you can get help with the calculator. You can also go to education.ti.com, and once you're there, go to Products, Graphing Calculators, and you'll see that there are links for the TI-83 Plus, TI-84 Plus, TI-84 Plus CE, and you can find out more information and get help working with your calculator there as well. Please do note that if you're using any kind of a calculator other than a TI-83 Plus or a TI-84 Plus, you need to talk to me about that. I need to approve it. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, you cannot use a CAS calculator. Examples of those are any calculator with CAS in the name, or the TI-89 is also a CAS calculator. Those are not allowed in this course. And there are certain other types of calculators that it turns out just don't have the functionality you need for the course. And I want to make sure that you have a calculator that has good functionality and will do what you need it to do throughout the semester. So please contact me if that may be an issue. All right, another long video. Again, they'll get shorter. Thank you for listening.